Greetings. What's up, Facebook? I am on my way to pick up somebody and take them where they need to go and all that kind of stuff. And just excited about life, but I'm a little upset about how people, especially white people, but even black people, that get into this saying that if all black lives mattered, where is the outrage for black on black crime? As though somehow black on black murder excuses police brutality or murder of someone who doesn't present a life-threatening response to you. You can't say one excuses the other. That's the first thing. But who are you to say that black people aren't upset about black on black crime and murder? What you don't seem to understand is black people are rather pissed off about having to endure or see the repercussions of the same storyline in 2020 that we read about in 1864, 1964, 2020. You get my drift. Every year, every decade, you find where black people who are not in any situation of murdering or doing anything violent to white people are always having the repercussion of death. And so what I want to help people understand is black people tired of all of it. We understand black on black crime. We understand that people are fighting over crumbs because there's no jobs. I went down a history list on my page once before, talking about the progression of African Americans and how that was halted, how that was destroyed. One thing that destroyed it was by getting rid of jobs that black people had in factories and things of that nature that brought us up to the middle class. And then once you start having all those factories and things of that nature moving out of those areas and those cities, you start developing ghettos. Families start breaking up. They drop cocaine, crack cocaine in the neighborhoods and things of that nature. All that stuff happened, and it was government operated. It was a government overt. They did that shit on purpose. It was not incidental. Black people did not create crack cocaine. Black people generally don't have connections to Colombia. We don't have connections to guns. Man, they know for a fact that they was just leaving crates of guns in LA by the train tracks and telling them to go get it. There is no time in history that a black group of people who was about black liberation and injustice and empowering black people, that the government, the American government, has imposed them or painted them out to be criminals, to be a threat to society, to be terrorists, to be hate crime groups, and all of this stuff. And in no time in history do you have where black people have consecutively harmed white people like you have history of white people killing blacks. America is psycho. America is blind to what it wants to not see. And the truth of the matter is that though things may appear to have changed, the undercurrent hasn't changed at all. Because the FBI is still doing today So like Black Lives Matters and other groups and other activists, that they did back in the 60s. Right now, today, they're infiltrating groups. They're setting traps for people. They're doing all that, and then they're participating. All the looting that was done wasn't done by Black Lives Matter people. I ain't know how that went down, but that's who they accused of doing it. Hell, they even know for a fact that there was police officers burning down stuff. They had a bunch of pictures and videos of white kids breaking into stuff, setting stuff on fire. But who gets the blame? Black people do. And we need to understand that, America. White people, you can't tell us how we should feel. You can't tell us how we ought to feel or how we ought to act or how we ought to behave or nothing like that. Until you start dealing with your people and start dealing with your own racism and the fact that racism is still alive and that you won't say nothing and you won't stand up for nothing. It's in the church, it's in politics, it's in the neighborhoods, it's everywhere. Just the notion that you have a president that said publicly, black people wake up every day dodging bullets. They're always in trouble. It's always a problem. Well, you know, that's a damn lie, because 2 of your neighbors are black, and y'all don't have to deal with that. And everybody in the city ain't dealing with bullets. And violence isn't just isolated to the inner city. Hell, I got shot in the suburbs by a white kid who grew up with black people as part of his extended family. And the prosecutor couldn't process that him shooting me had something to do with something in his heart. That he had hate in his heart for black people. Just as I hug a couple of white people don't mean I like all of you. Because I don't like ignorant people, whether you're black, brown, blue, polka dotted, white, or whatever. But the reality is, all this shit is real. We couldn't make it up if we want to. If you don't understand what's going on, go watch the movie, The Birth of the Nation. Birth of a Nation, and which formerly was called the Klansman. And you will see exactly what we see, because that birth a lot of the ideologies that white people live by today. White women think the black men want to rape them, want to rob you, want to steal from you. That's why people clench their... Now, I remember being up in St. Joseph, Missouri. I was working a construction job, so I was dressed as such. And it was my lunch break. I decided to walk around the mall. We was working at the mall, remodeling the store at the mall. And it happened to be the day that they had all the kids come up and they was passing out candy for Halloween. Well, I was curious why there was so many people, so I started walking. As I'm walking, it's a lot of people. I mean, like shoulder to shoulder almost. Just people were stopping to get the candy. This woman I ended up walking next to, she had a fucking anxiety attack walking down the mall. Anxiety attack. A visible anxiety attack. Because she was afraid that I was going to do some type of harm to her. That wasn't just 25 years ago, that was just a few years ago. The mentality that we have in the U.S. as it regards to blacks being criminals and all that type of stuff is stuff that has been established hundreds of years, 100 years ago, 100 plus years ago. After they supposedly freed us from slavery, black people were never meant to be a part of the American narrative rather. We're not considered citizens of the USA. You can't say that we're citizens of the USA when you have to make amendments to give us rights as a citizen in the USA. You don't understand that the FBI still right now does their covert stuff, and they're going into these things, to these organizations, and then they're sending out stuff saying that these people are violent, that these people are this, these people are that, and the police get these reports. If you take a criminal class, a criminal justice class, there are portions in that class that talks about black people being violent. So when you get programmed that black people are violent, how are you going to react? That's why all of them always say, I was afraid for my life. Because they have been programmed to believe that somehow black people are more violent than white people. If that was the case, why is it the police shoot white people too? I can ramble on and on and on and on. But I just wanted to put that out because it's too much to post. You can't tell us how to feel. You can't tell us what we are or not doing. Because we have to bury these black people who get killed by other black people. We have to comfort the kids. We have to comfort the parents. We have to comfort the family. We have to comfort the girlfriend or the wife. That's what we do as a community, from our churches, from our family members, from the neighborhood, out of relationship. So don't ever think that somehow black on black crime and murder don't affect us and that we're not saying something about it. And that there's not organizations not doing something about it. Because those are the organizations and that's the situation that doesn't scare white people. So why do they need to tell you about that? No, they're going to tell you about stuff that's already programmed in your head that's going to validate your fears and validate what you are afraid of. The white boy that shot me said, man, you're pretty cool. Then he spit in my face, went and got a gun, and shot me. 5 times, 6 times. He emptied the clip. You can't tell me how to feel or how we dealing with what's going on in our communities. We know all about what's going on in our communities. We've been trying to tell y'all for years. Here's another problem I got. How white Christians have spent $3,000 or more to go over to Africa in the jungles where you don't know nothing about nothing. They probably don't even speak the language you speak. You don't know nothing about nothing, but you'll spend thousands of dollars to go overseas and do missionary work. But you won't spend a quarter of a tank of gas to go into the urban core and build relationships with nobody. We can always come to you, but you don't come to us. You don't partner with churches. You don't do something as creative as take your congregation to worship with a chosen black congregation, intermingle, and find out that we as American people are not very different. We like French toast. We like toast. We like watermelon. You like watermelon. We like oranges. Some of us are vegan. A lot of us love barbecues. We love family. We love each other. Ain't much different. Talking about the color of the skin. Something that we can't even change. It's ridiculous what's going on in America, and something has got to change. And as Michael Jackson been trying to tell you, the change starts with you. It should start with each individual making a decision that this is not the country that I want. How is it that America can go out and be the moral compass of the world, right? But we won't address our own issues. You shot down Saddam Hussein. You shot down all these dictators. But America, black people have been dictated to since we've been here. So we see the situation as oppression. And we're tired. We don't want any apologies. We don't want none of that. We're not even asking you for money. We're just asking that you change the situation and the scenario by challenging people to think beyond where they are and think beyond the narrative that's been painted. All black people ain't criminals. All black people ain't bad. All black people aren't anything negative. Just not negative. Just like not all white people are. But every group got their issues. Because it's called humanity. And humans have human issues. And so, that's all I really got to say. Is we got to do better. We got to figure out how to make this come together so that we can find peace and harmony. So that when my child gets pulled over by the police, she's not afraid. Or when I get pulled over by the police, I'm not worried about being profiled. There's a lot of profiling done. We're just saying we're tired of it all. We're tired of not having jobs. We're tired of not having businesses in our communities. We're tired of not having progress. As you can see where I am right now, it's depressing. I'm not talking about me individually. I'm doing better than the average one. White, black, Mexican, or indifferent. But we gotta change some stuff. So I gotta be through with my rant because I'm picking up somebody, but tell me something below. How do we fix it? How do we change it? Something has to change. Thank you.